Breaking tonight, Virginians just voted to redraw its congressional map, a result that could play a major role in Democrats' efforts to flip the House in November. Right now, Democrats hold 6 of the state's 11 seats in Congress. But in this new map, Kamala Harris earned more 2024 votes than President Trump in 10 of the newly drawn districts. It was a narrow result, but a victory nonetheless. And I don't know, I think it feels like a new frontier now. Both sides have now said brazen partisan redistricting is on the table. That's where we're headed. And it sounds like the voters are like doing it, but they're not happy about it.
Yeah, I take to your point, Abby. I think that most people probably thought that the margin was going to be a lot larger in this because of how activated Democrats and Republicans have been on this redistricting thing. I don't like gerrymandering, point blank, period. But I also don't like one side playing by the rules and one side not. And so, like, at that point, those aren't rules. Those are just like someone's cheating. So I do understand why Democrats are doing it. Do I think it is healthy in the long term for our country? No. But I mean, I would be disappointed if Democrats just passively sat by and was like, yeah, go ahead in Texas and we're just going to let you do what you do. Like, what is that, you know?
But I have to ask,
should Democrats have passively sat by as Republicans gerrymandered?
Well, it's not that they actively sat by. They used to say this is a threat to democracy. You don't get to choose your voters. It should be the other way around. I mean, Obama gave very compelling remarks on these things. And so was that a lie?
No.
Or... Okay, so it's okay to threaten democracy and destabilize.
Fact patterns change, and what this fact pattern did was that Donald Trump called and said, "I'm trying to win this next election because we think we're going."
I don't buy that at all.
He literally called.
He literally called to attribute a higher morality to either of the political.
I'm not saying one is higher morality. I'm saying that like the fact pattern has changed in this point, and it's not the same backdrop when Obama gave the speech.
Texas went first? Is that your?
It was Texas and seven.
Yeah, I'm saying like that's politics. Like, don't be mad if you got beat on it. I mean, like,
but Geraldo, are you saying that you don't think that Trump starting this is a good enough rationale for Democrats to finish it?
I do not think so. I think that gerrymandering is a cancer on politics. I don't understand how it made it into the Constitution. I read about that, or the Supreme Court. I think that if you can manipulate the borders of a vote just to get a vote, and it deprives the people who don't get the vote of their constitutional rights, I think it's really obscene. It's as if you were playing in a baseball game and one side starts with 3 extra runs. It's just...
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, I think
we should
honestly,
bust the chops of all of the people.
Most Americans would totally agree with that. But let me just play. I mean, this is to what Ashley was talking about. This is Trump talking about what started this mid-decade redistricting effort back in July of 2025.
On Texas, how many more seats do you want the Republicans to draw?
5.
And then what if California, New York, Illinois, and other blue states
that's
decide to do
okay
this?
too, but 5. I think we get 5. And there could be some other states. We're going to get another 3 or 4 or 5 in addition. Texas would be the biggest one, and
So
that'll be 5.
are you calling then for a complete redrawing of the congressional map ahead of next year?
Just a very simple redrawing. We pick up 5 seats.
He actually said that, and you might have missed it. He said, he was asked if California and other states did it. He said, that's okay too. Maybe he didn't believe that they would do it, but they did. Well, at least California did, and Virginia has now.
Yeah, and look, this just creates a domino effect. I think ultimately what this creates is red states and blue states, and we're getting rid of purple states. And I don't like that as a general rule for democracy. I think it leads to just out of control power grabs and can ruin communities. I think that's true when you've got one party rule anywhere. So I'm not a big fan of this, but as I've pointed out before, this current battle was started in Texas. Trump did not start this battle, though, of redistricting in general. There's been no conversation specifically about Illinois, about Maryland, which have been redrawn to unrecognizable maps. It's unnatural, and there's going to be a push.
Gerrymandering. No, he did not. But the gerrymandering also did not start with Maryland And it didn't start
Well, it
in
didn't
any
start
of
in
these
Texas,
places.
except in
I
this
guess what I'm
case.
saying is that, yes, no, it's not, the origin of this story is not 2025, for sure. But it is also not solely with Democratic states, because look at currently southern red states right now that are gerrymandered all over the place, and nobody says anything about that.
Absolutely not. And I think the important thing, mid-decade redistricting has been pushed by this administration and Donald Trump. The responses that we have gotten from Democratic states really has put us back to roughly where we were. But what we have to realize is the attacks on voting rights is not new. The Supreme Court right now is hearing a case to potentially gut Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. 10 years ago, it was previously gutted by the Supreme Court even further. We have seen Republican efforts, and I represent in a state that has continued to take away people's access to the ballot box. And so the attempt to redraw the districts, mid-decade redistricting by the Republican Party and by this administration is, again, an attempt to silence the voices of communities that are already facing a lot of oppression.
But you don't think that such a complicated ballot measure is confusing to people? I mean, that's the highest bar to voting. People find these decision-making processes much, much more difficult than getting to the ballot. That's what the research shows.
You're referring to the ballot measure. Let me read. This is kind of controversial. So the Virginia ballot measure read, should the Constitution of Virginia be amended to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt a new congressional districts to restore fairness in the upcoming elections while ensuring Virginia's standard redistricting process resumes for all future redistricting after the 2030 census?
It's an op-ed.
Very confusing.
So, I don't know. I guess some people might say it's confusing. Some people might say it's transparent because it's sort of a very partisan. I would describe this as very partisan.
It's very clear.
And then
language here.
One group was the map fairness, and one group was
that's how elections and referenda.
Can I ask you a question?
But that's not how they're supposed to be written on a ballot.
Let's say,
But I mean,
ballot initiatives are always
I was just going to
confusing,
say,
to be
ballot
fair.
initiatives, this is the thing with ballot initiatives, is that if you create a ballot initiative and you kind of get to decide how it shows up on the ballot.
Well, it depends on the state. So in some states, it's actually up to the Secretary of State who then defines what is. It can be.
Is likely a partisan person.
How many times have you voted like, do I vote yay or nay on the levy? I don't know
supposed
because
to be
it's so
like that.
confusing.
But also, this is not going to work. Can I just say very, very quickly? We are in an iterative arms race that's going to result in no one benefiting from this. So that's a lot of moral high ground for Democrats to cede for zero electoral benefit.
You mean it's going to be net zero?
This year, yes, eventually
Well, I
it'll be
guess
net zero.
but that is the point.
That's the exact
for
point.
Democrats, that's a win.
For responding.
because Had they done nothing,
It would have
been
a 300.
advantage
We would have
to
started the
Republicans.
game
Exactly.
where people already had 3 points on.
But
so what? Let's say we
Republicans
would have
will
stopped.
continue to amp it up.
Yeah, so then tell your party or whoever to stop it. If you take the high ground, then be the bigger person. But nobody does that, right? So then don't expect the other side. I think
take that
gerrymandering
L.
is wrong. That's what I started. But let's say we would have paused time after Texas. Would you have advocated and told Donald Trump and done everything to get your party to stop that?
Yes, because I'm
And
not
if-
part of a party.
Okay, and if
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I was not a fan of what happened.
But
in
if they
Texas.
did not stop it, do you realize how that was unfair and rigging the system against
Yes, I
Democrats?
think it's terrible.
So what?
I'm saying Democrats are the ones that made the ethical argument
I know,
against
but once
about
something
the threat
is
to
unfair,
democracy.
once something is unfair,
follow
don't
through
you
with it.
try and do something to make it fair again?
That's right.
But actually, I think.
Or do you just
With
live in
a tactic
unfairness?
that people called Jim
So
Crow
then what should they
2.0
have done?
I don't
and the
know
end of
that you can
democracy and the end of
describe-
voting.
I'm not sure that you can really describe the Virginia map as fair again.
Even.
Okay,
It's clearly not, but it's not even. It's not even. One
It
Republican.
has perhaps zeroed out the ledger at a national level.
Yeah.
But in fact, what's happening is that you have unfairness in Texas, and then you have unfairness in Virginia.
Yeah.
And the voters are the losers.
I guess I'm just
I'm saying I just don't
right?
think it was worth it. I don't think it was worth it.
I think it is worth it if people feel like this administration and this Congress and this Senate do not represent them and it is run by Republicans. And what was happening in Texas was going to enable it to be continued to be run by Republicans.
That's right.
I think the way you can make it even is say, don't do it. And if you do it, we're going to do it to make it even again.
right.
I just hope
we'll
we
see.
keep that consistency
Yeah,
across the board.
exactly.
If
Let's keep
Democrats
it rolling.
retake the House, let's see if the first thing they do is outlaw partisan redistricting.
That's a very good point.
All right, next for us, Tucker Carlson says that he's sorry. He's sorry for helping to elect Donald Trump. That remarkable turnaround and the president's sinking approval ratings next.